and or do so in the chat because I will be monitoring that. All right, so before I kind of give you an opportunity for input, I want to give you some context. So in the standards introduction, I think it's important that we start with knowing who is it that we serve, who is it that computer science is designed for. So it's not meant according to the standards introduction and the implementation plan. It's not meant as an elective, right? It's ultimately designed to be accessible to each and every student in California and their K-12 standards. And so we know that that's the goal, that's what we're looking for. And of course, you know, they came out in 2018 and then we had COVID and we have a million things going on and I get that. So we're going to talk about challenges and things that are working well as well. But just some context of what the state has said, what the State Board of Education has approved as far as computer science and who it is designed for in California for those standards. And this is taken from the Computer Science Strategic Implementation Plan. I'll give you a moment to read that. And I would imagine that if you are here, you likely agree with some or many of the what is said in this statements. But it can be helpful to know what is actually written and approved again, you know, by the state board in this regard. All right, and then. So these are some interesting, I'm taking a few of the principles that are in that implementation plan. So the first one is that every student and every teacher is capable of learning computer science. And if you are like me, as a K-12 student, I never took computer science. I never had any computer science in my traditional education in my school. And so this is something that this belief is really important because I am one of most of educators in California that, you know, have that experience as students in the K-12 system and sometimes struggle with, okay, how do I do this? But we do believe that every student and teacher is capable. So we want to know what supports may be helpful for that. Here's another one. Every student in California should have equitable access to high quality computer science curriculum and instructions aligned to the standards. And we're going to look at each of these a little bit more closely so that you can give your input and take on that. Here's principle 3. Every student should have continuous opportunities and multiple entry points, including articulated pathways towards college careers and community engagement. And all of this information, the standards, and which you're probably all aware of, I'm certain I'm probably speaking to the choir, but if this is making you say, oh, I want to read a little more about this, these standards and the implementation plan are available on the CDE website. There's a computer science content page that has these on there. All right, let's look at another one, and then we'll go a little deeper. So computer science should align with the standards and be integrated as appropriate into other subject areas. I saw some of you in the chat mentioned a little bit about that. And just talked about how to fit it all in. I felt like that was part of the challenge that I was sensing from the chat is Okay, the extra time. That's when we can give them some time to do some computer science. And hey, that's better than no time. I'm a big fan of that. I did that in the classroom as well. But trying to find ways that we can fit that in. The state strategic plan does say that that interdisciplinary integrated approach is absolutely an option that may be helpful. And then when they get to those middle high school levels, it can be there can be some what are referred to in the standards as discrete courses or standalone courses. And principle 4, I love this one. Computer science instruction should involve real world, engaging, meaningful, and personally relevant activities, because there is computer science all around us, right? So what I'd like to do now, I see someone was taking a picture, so I waited for a moment there. Hopefully we're good. All right, perfect. So I would like for you to be able to share your thoughts. And what I'm going to do, there's a Jamboard here. I will put the link in the chat. So if you click on that link, it will take you to this Jamboard. And what I'd love to know, and it'll load here in a moment, I'm certain, is with these different principles, so the mindset that every student and every teacher is capable of learning computer science. So if you can think of something in your context that seems to be working well in regards to that. So perhaps there are teachers that are willing to try new things, or there's a lead teacher that is helping to coach some of the more novice teachers in regard to CS, or perhaps there's some mindset work that's been done for students, or whatever it may be. If there's something that is working well in your context, then you can go over here and click a sticky note and go to the green and put something in that way. If there are some barriers to this, please feel free to take a sticky note and make it pink. Maybe a barrier is, well, there's teachers and administrators in my context that don't believe that, they believe that computer science is too difficult, or whatever it may be. And then any ideas that you have that may support you or those that you are working with or for, you can feel free to put that in the chat as well. If you say, well, I would love to see a one-pager about this, or I'd love to have a conversation about this, or a webinar, or a professional learning, or whatever it may be. So those are kind of the 3 buckets that we're looking at here. What's working well, what are some barriers, and what are some ideas for support? So I'll give you some time to think through this first one. We'll see what we come up with here. And I love seeing the greens, because it's great to see those great things that are happening, but we also, of course, have to acknowledge that there are some barriers if we're going to move forward as well. Oh, Erin got a shout out. Love it. Time. Oh, these are great. And I can speak to some of these as well. Once we see that the input slows down a bit on this one. I appreciate all of the awesome spotlights, the great things that are happening. And I also appreciate the honesty of the challenges and the barriers as well. Love that. Bebot, implementing CS into the science curriculum. Oh, that's great. Absolutely. Perfect. New funds for after school. I'm seeing some things about after school. I love that. I know that ultimately, the goal is that computer science would be accessible to all students and that it's integrated into the school day. However, we have to start somewhere, and I'd much rather have us have CS and after school than have no CS at all, right? And a lot of times that'll get kids and parents and even some teachers excited, and then we can move forward in that way. So love that is being brought up, especially because there's a lot of support in regards to funding for expanded learning. So definitely a great strategy that's working well in some other counties as well. Hecto says, helpful, perfect. Great, some great mindsets here with some of us. Awesome. Oh, as a teacher modeling that debugging. Yes. Oh, I like that. PE classes doing data talks. Yeah, that's perfect. Love it. All right. So looking at the barriers, time, too many things to do, fitting it into the schedule. Teachers that aren't tech savvy, the idea of CS is scary. Not all teachers feel that it's necessary. Absolutely, training new teachers. Not all schools have labs or Chromebooks. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing all of that. Those are real realities, right? And so one thing, the more spotlight, great stuff that we hear, the more that we can kind of give some ideas from others. Certainly the integrated approach can be helpful, but what we certainly need to provide more supports for that as well. I think also, as far as those that don't see that it is necessary, I will let you know that at the end of March, most likely, I will be doing a webinar just about why CS is important. And so if you have administrators or teachers that you think may be, and it'll be recorded as well. So if you have teachers or administrators that you think, well, they're not going to listen to all us techie people, but if it comes from like CDE, maybe the state, maybe they'll be a little bit more likely to to consider that, then feel free to invite them. I'll make sure to let Stephanie and Aaron know once that's all announced and everything as well. Okay, so I love that there are so many yellows as well. This is great. So PD, coaching support, unplugged lesson plans. Allowing students to teach each other. That's great. So PD, I know that Aaron's going to talk a little bit about some PD opportunities that are stipended in a bit, but we definitely want to increase that PD, but make sure that it's professional learning that is what you want and what you need. And so that's why I really want to listen and to all of this. I like, this is interesting, lessons that model how you can incorporate strategy into curriculum. that's an interesting idea. I've heard some others request something similar, like bring your curriculum day, and there's a professional learning where we talk about how we can actually integrate this into what we already do. So that might be something. If I keep hearing the same thing, maybe it'll turn into something that we can offer for everyone. Demo lessons. Someone was telling, and if you like some of these ideas, then let me know, or put it in the, put a yellow post-it like, oh yes, that's great, because the more I see it and hear it, then the more I'll maybe do that first. There were some people that had said, what if we did there were little video snippets that showed this is what CS can look like in kindergarten, in second grade, in an intro CS class in high school, et cetera. How do we make this part of our credential programs? That is something that there are individuals on the policy side that are trying to, there are conversations being had, I'll say that. But it's not there yet. Funding to make sure every school gets computers. I wish I had all the money and I could just say, yes, that should happen. I know that's something that they're, the state is wanting to do. We'll see how that goes. Push in CS teachers would be fantastic. Agreed. I wish we all had the money and time and staffing to do that. But it is what it is. So thank you for all of that. Let's move on to the next one. If anyone has any additional thoughts or questions or comments, feel free to unmute or let me know in the chat. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, that's good to know too. Training online. Yes. So making sure that it's asynchronous, or at least virtual, I should say. Okay. I'm in a VCOE credential program, but CS TA standards aren't acknowledged. Only Common Core. Correct. So the challenge is that often there are several state board adopted standards that we don't address, right? There's the model school library standards, there's the health standards, there's world languages. I mean, there's so many. And so that is something that we definitely want to try and build awareness of. And that's one of the things that I want to try to do too in this position, is build awareness, certainly with administrators as well. So that is great to hear that though. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Thank you for that. So this next one, oh, some people already started it. Awesome. See here. So this is about equitable access to high quality computer science curriculum in alignment with the standards. So curriculum and instruction, equitable access. Awesome. So we have some integration that's working well. Having the Chromebooks, K5, okay. Time, funding more than just access to technology. I'd love to hear more about that. Does that mean we want funding more, like for more staffing, for more PD, for, because agreed that the device alone is not going to guarantee that there's actually computer science happening, right? More quality CS lessons. Okay. Right? Just because they're on the computer doesn't mean they're learning about CS. Yes, funding for Chromebooks and training and curriculum. Okay. Ooh, yes, CS into integrated and designated ELD. There are some teachers doing a really good job of that. And I'm glad that was mentioned, because it reminds me that I need to spotlight some and follow up on some of that work. So, oh, but that's a green, that's working well. So that means there's someone in your context doing that also. Excellent. Thank you. All right, so parent education. Okay. Knowledge among all teachers, certainly. Oh, an elective wheel. My son was in an elective wheel in middle school as well. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a nice approach. CS activity nights, okay. Yes, teachers observing other teachers in their districts, absolutely. One-on-one Chromebooks, excellent. So it sounds like access is pretty good. All right, I do want to speak to one of the support request, so to speak, a standard and adoptable cumulative curriculum framework for K-12. So there is a what's called a spot bill, which is like legislation that is it is like a placeholder for a bill that is going to be coming that mentions a computer science framework. So, I have no idea if that will pass. I have no idea what that's actually going to look like. But there are certainly conversations by some individuals about that. And so just wanted to give you an update on that. In the meantime, I would like to provide whatever it is that people are wanting out of that framework. I'm hoping to help work with others to provide some resources in the meantime, because the reality is, even if a framework is approved, it's going to take a long time and a lot of money and all of that. And so, because it has to go through the whole legislation and all of that. So, but I did want to bring that to your attention, that that is something that is being talked about, certainly. An instructional tech coach, super helpful. Not having one, sounds like, is a barrier. Oh my goodness, the right headphones for primary grades. That is so like under appreciated, right? If you haven't, I taught in the primary grades, K through 2, and then I also taught 6th grade. But oh man, that's a big one. I think if you haven't taught primary, that's something you can't necessarily empathize with. Excuse me. All right. Ooh, gamifying curriculum. Nice. Professional development that has a focus on integrating CS. Okay. Okay, so mostly tech teachers are doing CS, so we want to prioritize teachers who have no background experience. Okay, I know that the PD opportunities that that Erin's going to talk about later are designed for those that don't have any computer science experience. So hopefully that will be helpful as well. Ooh, curriculum available in Spanish. Okay, all right, let's look at the next one. So this one, every student should have continuous opportunities, multiple entry points, including pathways toward college careers and community engagement. That's a big one. Okay, that's great. Most teachers are on board with the importance of CS competence. That's excellent to hear. So I appreciate and see the reality of one of those barriers quite often. How do we get students to take these courses, especially girls, when they've never heard about it before high school? And so something that the standards, I believe it's in the appendix, not in the introduction, talks about how if we ensure equitable access for our K5 students, that then they're going to be exposed to CS, and now they know, oh, this might be something I'm interested in. And so that's one of the strategies, is getting them excited in K5 as well. But that is absolutely, there are definite inequities in regards to who is signing up for our CS classes in high school. Yep, the thought that CS is for the brainy kids. Right, and there's so many, like there's CS. I was on a women in tech, I was attending a women in tech webinar that it was a panel discussion, yesterday that the CSTA Greater Los Angeles area posted. I don't know if any of you were on that, but they were talking about, these women were talking about their roles in tech. And one was talking about like fashion, Nordstrom Trunk Club, and like it's not just there were so many different opportunities, different industries that computer science is in that people sometimes don't think of. And the other thing that was interesting was one of the individuals, one of the women was talking about how she had very low self-confidence in CS and thought she was a bad coder until she had a mentor or teacher that encouraged her. And so that really speaks to me as to what we can do as teachers as well. So teachers are completely stumped to even fit in PE, let alone another thing, right? And I think that's where integration may come into play. Like, okay, so I know you have to teach ELA anyway. I know you have to teach math anyway. Here's a way that we can teach math through CS, just first steps at a time, because we're not going to change everything overnight. But if we can get, do a little bit of integration, I know for myself, that was always helpful as well. And with the teachers I worked with. Ooh, working with upper grade buddies using computers. I love that. Yes. Getting girls involved and safe. Yes. Embedding it in the curriculum. Absolutely. Introducing computers with games. Computer science pathway. And there are some districts that have done that. There are others that are still working on that, or that's not even on their radar yet. So we're in a lot of different places across the state. Oh yes, some in the school not interested and even against it. Parents' concerns about too much screen time. Sure, I wonder if more awareness about how computer science is not just staring at a screen, but there's so many other portions to it would be helpful for communities as well, for parents. Awesome, thank you. All right, let's look at this next one. So this is where we're talking about the integration, which some of you have already talked about. That's the people using the FOSS science curriculum. Love it. I used a little bit of that when I first started in the classroom. Data talks, absolutely love it. Aligning with NGSS, yes. Kindergarten with science and engineering practices. Yes, teachers understanding how to do this and having time to plan the lessons. Absolutely. Some of the, and that's, there are some of PDs that are interdisciplinary in Seasons of CS, which we'll talk about as well. Let's see. Okay, so PD where the teachers are not the ones leading it and coming up with the agenda and planning it. Observing colleagues. Okay. Awesome. And Erin, I'm not sure what time I started. How are we on time? Another like 5 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Oh, 1 day a week for purposeful CS class. Absolutely. Okay, so that's something that's working well for you. That's awesome. I know there's some teachers that feel that they don't have the time to even do that, but I love that that's working for you. Elementary CS standalone because the only one excited to learn it and work with the little ones. I'm wondering if that's someone that's a coach or if it's someone in the classroom
I teach middle school CS and high school science, but one day a week I
Okay.
work with the elementary kids for a day.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then
The
they
K
see you as the expert, the teachers do, so they don't want to, that's a tricky, I love that they have that opportunity, those students.
Mhm.
Uh, quick little, I mean, you may have done this already, but quick little coaching tips. Sometimes it's helpful to say, this worked for me when I first started introducing coding to a kindergarten teacher who was amazed that I could have a Google form, like send her an email right after I walked out of the class. Like thought it was
Mhm.
magic, literally used the word magic. I once said, I don't even know if this is going to work, but you're the expert with your students and your grade level, and I just want to try it and see what happens. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, you don't know everything and you need my help. Oh, this is great. And it actually worked out really well. There were some challenges, but that worked for me once. I mean, who knows?
Thank you. That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
you're welcome. Thanks for sharing. All right, let's look at the next one. I think this is the last one. Yeah, okay. Oh, this one's my favorite. Real world, engaging, meaningful, personally relevant activities, problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, and the ethical impacts of computing. Oh, it's all about PBL. I love it. People are doing PBL. Time and resources for planning, certainly, especially when we're talking about something like we know that this is what is best pedagogically, but how difficult is it to make this happen every time, right? Like time wise, agreed. Oh, connections to YouTube and TikTok. Yes. Oh, paid time for teachers to meet and plan. Absolutely. Excellent. All right. Oh, Piper Kids. Piper's fun. Love it. Yeah, Girls Who Code is, I would agree, is pretty relevant. Activist media with computer skills to teach students to have a voice in the world. Oh, that's, yes. Love that. Awesome. Another minute or so, maybe. Yay, Piper Kids times 2. Awesome. There's so many great tools out there. All right. Thank you so much for that. Oh, Mesa, perfect. Okay. Great stuff. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for your thoughts. I truly appreciate it. I am going to add notes of like the themes to my qualitative data so that I can, continue to prioritize what you and others are asking for and sharing. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to close out my section here with letting you know about some resources. One is I have a weekly news blast, like it's just an email newsletter. It's just says weekly events that you can join, webinars, things like that, as far as what's going on with CS. So if you'd like to do that, see what's going on in regards to CS in California, sign up. And unfortunately, you can't just do a QR code. You have to send a blank email, and in the subject line, it has to say subscribe. But if you do that, then you'll be able to get that weekly email every week. And I also have a survey if you just wanted to share anonymously more about basically, how comfortable do you feel with the standards? How do you feel implementations going on a Likert scale? And what supports you might be looking for, what's working, and what challenges you have. And that data I'm just going to use to, again, prioritize what we will kind of focus on first in regards to support for you. And if you'd like to chat with me, and share your thoughts or ask questions or anything like that. That's available as well. It takes you to my calendar, and you can have a quick 30-minute chat with Kat. So that's all the ways that you can connect with me. I truly appreciate all of you for everything you're doing. Thank you for all of your input, and please stay connected. Oh, and let me stop sharing the screen. There we go. Right. Did Erin drop off?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm going to continue sharing, and we're just going to go through some opportunities. Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing all of the different ways that we can think about computer science standards and how it's benefiting our students and what we can do to help incorporate some new strategies. So I appreciate that. I'm going to share my screen as I do 5 things at once. We will be getting here out on time today. So we have learning opportunities, the past and the present. And so we had an amazing computer science exploration. If you weren't there, just a little bit of a recap, and Stephanie was going to do this, but I just want to say that it was so many educators from all over Santa Cruz County. And if you didn't have a chance to come, it was our in-person event. It was our last CS-COP meeting. And it was just a fantastic way to learn from others, to get some resources. I know that a bunch of you checked out supplies from the COE, giving you tons of different access to materials that you wouldn't have already had. We're going to continue to do this because it was so successful next fall. Right now, all of the resources, for the most part, except for the BBOTs, if you're still interested in BBOTs for the younger elementary kids, we still have some of those. But other than that, everything's pretty much checked out. So all the Piper computers and everything were checked out. But there's a ton of resources, and that lending library link is in the slides. So please go to the agenda or to the Zoom link today, and you'll see all of the slides and the agenda where you can get those resources. And again, we're going to try to host another one next fall so that people can sign up for more of the lending library resources and learn a little bit more about how to use those resources in your classroom. The seasons of CS are, oh, there it is. And I don't know if you talked about it, Catherine, a little bit, but I'll let you talk about it because this is your jam.
Yeah, and maybe just refresh. I didn't add anything here. I missed that note, but
that's okay.
I can add. Is this slide deck shared? Because I can add another image later. If not, it's okay. I can just tell everyone.
You can just tell everyone, and then we can add it to our slides.
Not a problem.
Okay.
Okay. So Seasons of CS is grant funded. And it is a statewide professional learning support for teachers, paraprofessionals, administrators, and counselors that are going on across the state. So during the summer, there are, like over 40 offerings. It's a lot in all different areas. No computer science experience is necessary. There's like Bootstrap if you're teaching mathematics and want to have CS in your mathematics class for data science or algebra. There's Project Guts if you're a science teacher and you want to embed some science that way. There's elementary opportunities. There are several different ones. And there also are opportunities both virtual and in person going on across the state. So seasonsofcs.org is where you'll find all that information. You can filter it by grade level, by if you want in-person or virtual, but haven't even gotten to the best part. The best part is that as teachers, I believe we are often asked to work far and beyond our contract, or we want to because we want to learn and we want to do what's best for our students, but we value you. And so part of this grant program, it will give you $175 a day stipends to attend the summer trainings. So, and there's also follow-up sessions as well. So there are follow-up sessions during the year, because a lot of times what happens is we go to PD and we're like, oh, that was great. And then we start implementing it in our classroom and now we have questions. So there are some follow-up sessions during the year that will support you with that. So I will add another graphic there also, Erin, but seasonsofcs.org is where you'll go, and feel free to reach out to me. You have my contact info if you have any questions about it as well. But like I said, seasonsofcs.org, you'll find a lot of information.
Thank you so much. And $175 to do a day's worth of fun work and learn a lot is totally worth it. I did the Summer of CS for the elementary, and it was a fantastic learning opportunity during distance learning. And I highly, highly recommend this training, because it really does change how you teach CS. There are a ton of other opportunities from the Krause Center of Innovation. I am a KCI ambassador, and one of the things as an ambassador, I like to share the different opportunities that are going on. And this summer we have 3 amazing programs. I am wholeheartedly married to Merit. I was part of Merit 19, and it just was such a wealth of information, great learning. But it's really, again, with anything Q related and KCI related, it's a community in which you are making friends that is the best takeaway out of the entire thing. So it is both online and in person. So that gives you the ability. We don't live next to Foothill College. It's way over the hill. And I remember driving that drive very many times. But this year, you can do one or the other. You don't have to be in person, which I think is fantastic. There are follow-up events in person. It's all grant funded. It's a $75 application fee. That's just for the Foothill College, so that you get the units. But it is a completely free opportunity. It's amazing. It is all ed tech all the time, everything you want to know. The Space and STEAM program are more CS focused. So the Space program, again, is grant funded. You don't pay anything but the $75 registration fee. It is a really cool way of learning a little bit more about how to make maker spaces in your site or your classroom. And they are giving away a free 3D printer for every single participant, which is huge. So if you are thinking that you want to create your own makerspace in your classroom or at your site, it is a fantastic way and opportunity for you to be able to use and get a free 3D printer from the SPACE program. STEAM, again, is that idea of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. We also haven't talked about STEM, but STEAM has the arts in it. And it's really integrating all of these different things so that you can create your own genius hours in your classrooms. It has a really good advisors that are running the program. They're working on social emotional learning, instructional materials, and just really critical thinking about how do we design and become creators instead of consumers of content. And so 3 really good programs that I highly encourage. All of the information is on their web pages. And if you mention my name in your application process, you get a little extra bump on your application for mentioning my name, and it's one of those little check boxes. We also have CSTA, fantastic conference. This is all virtual. They went from having it last year far and away, and this year they were like, nope, we're going to go back to Hopkins, and we're going to make sure that it is accessible for everyone. And so forget the flights and all of that thing. It is a virtual conference from July 11th through 13th. I've spoken at CSTA many times. It is a fantastic learning opportunity for computer science teachers. It's, again, just finding your peeps in that puddle of all of the different things. And it's finding new strategies that I guarantee you, if you've gone to any Q event, it's like Q in the fact that you will meet new people, you will become really close friends, and you will leave having things that you can do in your classroom the next day. So it is a really great way to meet other CS-minded people. We have a Silicon Valley affiliate of the CSTA. And so if you're not part of that, it's free to register. And we have monthly newsletters that go out every single month. And so there's a non-member registration, a member registration, and just more information if you want to know about it. And we have the CA STEAM Symposium. That is this weekend on the 11th. This is at the county fair, and there's going to be a ton of different people that are working to just get out the word of what's happening across the county with STEAM. And there'll be lots of live places where students can go. It is a student-driven event, so bring anybody that you know. If you have kids that are interested in doing different things, it's a really great opportunity. But that is this weekend, the 11th. I believe it's all day long until 3 or 5. This was Stephanie's part, but I can find out more information. You can email me or Stephanie, and I will get you all the information for this weekend on Saturday. So we have our last PLC or COP meeting. We're going to change that. Remember that you have 2 semester units or a $1,250 stipend that's coming to you at the end of all of this. We are going to work out on a doodle when we're going to see each other next, but that is when we are going, we will let you know as soon as we have some input on what days we can get together, because we really would like to meet in person and be able to celebrate all of the learning that we've done together and growing together as learners. And so hopefully that will come together, and I will let you know the date as soon as we find out what works best for everyone. So for next time, I want you to be ready to share what have you done with computer science this year, and how do you see yourself continuing to grow in computer science? Those are our 2 questions that we really want to hone into in our in-person. And again, that doodle will come to you. But really thinking about like any artifacts that you have from students that you've done with computer science, please bring them. It's always really great to see what kids are doing across the county in different areas, especially different levels. So whether you're elementary, middle, or high school, it would be great to see some student artifacts if you're able to tangibly take them to the meeting. We'd love to take pictures and see what you and your students are doing. But those are, again, our 2 questions that we have posed for you next time. And if you have questions, please let us know. That feedback, this Santa Cruz County of Education link, Tell Steph, is always in there for you to do it. And I really appreciate all our time. I think Catherine had to leave early, but we are going to end early. Don't tell Stephanie, we're ending 15 minutes early. And I'm going to stop sharing with you. We're going to end a little bit early today because we can. And I really appreciate all of your time and your commitment to our CSCOP. And if you have any other questions, information that you want to know, I'll make sure Cat stuff is all in there in the Google slideshow. But have a wonderful rainy day. Stay warm and dry, and have a great weekend ahead. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Erin.
Thanks.